Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Liu from the Fired Up with CJ show.
If you've ever wanted more joy and happiness in your life, then do we have the celebratory Valentine's Day or post-Valentine's Day show for you. Today we'll be talking about celebration in life, what it means to celebrate the moments, large and small, to bring more good stuff about. That plus we'll talk about eye ulcers, love bugs, nuts the squirrel, fruity oatmeal, heading back to the trails, synchronicity and surrender, and what in the world spicy veggie bean burritos have to do with anything. Gotcha. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine.
So before we dive right into things, what's coming up for you tomorrow?
For me tomorrow, it's my birthday.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah. 54. I can't even remember. At a certain point, you start forgetting, or you don't want to remember, or a little bit of both.
I found myself rounding up accidentally this year, rounding up to the next decade. And then I'm like, wait a second, be here now. You got 4 years, be here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I was actually, while you were saying that, I was calculating, like, am I 54? Like, I can't even remember anymore. 1963. So
wow.
Yes.
So, are you doing anything fun tomorrow?
I'm not sure. I think we're going to go out to dinner, and I'm not sure. We'll probably do just fun things like hang around and walk and do nice walks, and yeah, I don't know yet.
That counts. That counts.
Yeah.
Little nature time.
Nature time, dinner time. I don't have anything scheduled at all, so that feels really good.
I like that.
Yeah, just downtown. I talked to you last week, and I had that like 2-day workshop thing, and probably like a week and a half to prepare for it beforehand, and I was just exhausted. So
your head was rotating around 360 degrees.
It was like I saw someone the next day, and he's like, "Yeah, you don't look right."
Oh no!
So I said, "Yeah, I'm not," but I'm slowly recovering. It takes a lot out of you to do it, but it was good.
Yeah, and recurring seems to be the name of the game here. If we went from me, what was it? It's weird. I never get sick. And I got pink eye about a month and a half ago. I had some stomach challenges briefly thereafter. And then I went to, sinus infection and laryngitis. And I got better from that. And now Jessica's got, as you were just discussing with her off air beforehand, an eye ulcer of all strange things.
I've never even heard of something. So an ulcer is when something doesn't heal up, doesn't close, or
the best way I can because I tend to be, I don't know if laissez-faire is the right term, but I tend to be very let's take care of things on their own. Let's work through this. Homeopathic, naturopathic, all of this good stuff. And 2 days ago, she said, "Do you mind taking a look at my eye?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not as red." And then I'm like, "What's that white dot?" And she goes, "Yeah, I've had that white dot there." And I Google it, and it says eye ulcer. And I'm like, "So let's take you into the doc, like now." And she goes, No, it's okay. I'm like, "Now." And she's like, "Well, there's nobody locally. We can wait till tomorrow morning." I'm like, "Okay." But I'm glad we took her in the next morning. It's the best I can determine is you get an eye infection, and it becomes like a zit on the eye.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Ouch.
So,
but had it been hurting her until she knew what it was, and then when
it'd been hurting her because I had pink eye a month and a half ago, and then we brought new Kitty home, and Kitty had pink eye, and he'd been giving her lots of kisses, or she had been giving her lots of kisses right on that eye. So we assumed. But we assumed it was red eye or pink eye, and we were giving her colloidal silver drops. And colloidal silver is a homeopathic that is antiviral and antibacterial, and it cleaned up my pink eye. It did an awesome job with it, but she didn't have pink eye. But the doc said that it's probably the only reason it didn't get much worse was because of the colloidal silver. So it's interesting. Right. We're very much a non-antibiotic family, if at all possible. But I think once it crosses that eye threshold and the small hole in eye, you go, okay, let's do that. And,
right. Like, because it could affect her vision, right?
Yes.
That kind of gets infected and then she can't see correctly, or, wow. That's scary.
So she'll be fine, and I'm going to do some really cool stuff on her tonight. I haven't really cracked it out in quite a while, but I'm going to crack out my invisible laser pen and do some visualization work on her eye. I've done some fun, weird stuff in my life, CJ. So I came back from racing bicycles in Europe after a beautiful season in Belgium, and this was before I got hit by a car the next year. Just wasn't meant to be. So I come back and I did this beautiful mountain bike trail with a friend, Joe Rubik. Oh, amazing human being. He went back to college at, I think, age 30, and it turned his whole life around, given up alcohol, second chance at life, amazing electrician, and or electrical something. And we were doing this downhill mountain bike ride, and he was leading. And I said, "Hey, Joe, do you mind if I lead? I'm eating a lot of dust back here, and I can't see where I'm going." And he goes, "Nah, sure, Mike." He was just super cool, laid back. I mention him this way because he passed away the next year. He got his degree, turned his whole life around, got his degree, went back to Costa Rica to help, I think, disadvantaged communities get electrical systems in. And his vehicle went off of a cliff, probably in a rainstorm or something, and he passed away. So on this ride, I said, "Mind if I go ahead? It doesn't feel safe back here." He let me go. And the next thing you know, I'm laying on the side of the trail with a guy going, "I killed him. I can't believe I killed him." A guy, we didn't know this was a multi-use trail. We'd never heard of a motorcycle being on this trail. A guy had taken his racing motorcycle, his 550 or 750 beast of a motorcycle, powered up the trail, and we had apparently rounded a bend and hit mountain bike going downhill pretty speedy, and motorcycle going uphill full throttle pretty speedy. We hit bike to bike and helmet to helmet.
Wow.
And it had knocked me out and cracked my skull and cracked his motorcycle helmet. I had a helmet on too. That was totaled. Wow. And he's got the motorcycle on top of me going, "I killed him. I can't believe I killed him." No.
Oh, gosh.
No, still alive. And
get the motorcycle off of me.
Yes, get the motorcycle off of me. It's got a nice little hole in my arm from it. And, they dragged me out to the hospital, and I had a kneecap that was split in two and didn't need surgery. They said it would heal. And I went to work with a light pen on it, an invisible pen in my eye. Sometimes I would use a physical pen and kind of wave it in front of my kneecap. In my mind's eye. I would visualize. So I'm going to pull out a pen here.
Right.
And I would visualize holding a pen in my hand and go over, we'll pretend that these two fingers is this crack right here is the kneecap. And I would go over imagining that it's putting a golden healing light, filling in the crack and filling the whole thing in, and just sealing that until the kneecap is whole again. Mm-hmm. And I would practice this over and over and over again. And my college bicycle racing team was going, it was Colorado College, a class every 3.5 weeks, and then a 3.5 or 4.5 days off. And so for the first block break, they were going to ride their bicycles to Aspen. And I was seeing the doc, I think a day before their bike trip, 3 weeks after cracking my kneecap. There's no way I'm going to be able to do the ride. But I did the light pen, and I went in, and the doc's just dumbfounded, jaw hit the floor, and he's looking on the x-ray, and he goes, "I can see where it was fractured, but it's healed."
Wow.
And so I'm like, cool. I'm like, "Can I do the ride?" And he goes, "Well, you could test it out." And so I rode with them to their first camp where they camped for the night. I went back to school to feel things out, and they're up in the mountains. And the next day, I rode back out and caught up to him and rode this. It was like 160 some odd miles from Colorado Springs to Aspen and 3 mountain passes, all in one day, 3 weeks after splitting my kneecap in two.
Wow. And there was no pain, nothing. Like, you were okay?
It didn't exist. It didn't exist at all. I'd done the same thing on my hand or wrist, which I had also broken and had a cast on the first day on the bike ride. I took off the cast. It was fine. And so I'm going to go tonight, and I don't know if me doing the visualization work will do anything or not, but I'm going to go with my imaginary light pen and do some work on her eye we've had a couple guests on hands-on healing and do that, and we'll get her doing some visualization work, and she's going to put on top of that some Joe Dispenza work and a Joe Dispenza guided meditation and see what we can do to knock this down, because she went back to the doc today and it's a little bit better, but not enough that they're not concerned. And I'm like, progress in the right direction to me is like, woohoo, that's the greatest thing in the world. They'd like to see more, so I want to see if we can seal this thing up.
Wow. You know that I had someone who would douse people who would. Do you know what a dowser? It's like a
rod.
Yeah, like a rod. He would use his dowser and heal broken bones and things like that. Like people would go in, like an old lady would fall, she'd have a fracture in her bone, and she'd go in like the next weekend and it would be gone. It is interesting. I don't even know how and what is happening, but I believe you because I've heard it before. I haven't had anything like that myself, but and I hope not to. But if I have something like that, I'm going to try everything that you just mentioned, because why not?
Yeah.
And Joe Dispenza, who you mentioned, I mean, he was able to heal his whole spine. So I think it's possible. I don't understand how it works. I'm not sure what happens, but I've heard and seen. I've heard it happen.
I had a very non-woo-woo coach, triathlon coach many years ago. One of the top coaches out there, in fact. And I was coming back from my near-death experience one, and I was struggling with some things. And he had a great visualization that he wanted me to do, which is to go and print out a copy, find it online or anywhere, of whatever part of your body is injured, and print out a copy of what it looks like whole and complete and healthy. Mm-hmm. And just start burning that image into your mind and picturing it and picturing it and picturing it. And the body will follow that blueprint that it's seeing and bring that back about.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like when they ask you to bring more oxygen or bring more blood into your body to get it to heal. Like there's all sorts of techniques to do that. It's almost like if you bring more energy into your body. What Joe Dispenza said, I think in his, I'll probably botch this up, but he was saying that there's actually, our body has these natural healing mechanisms. And so if we can actually tune ourselves to the natural healing energies that are out there, that our body will go in resonance and it will like heal itself. But instead we get all upset because we have an illness and we get upset, and then there's a dissonance. And it's really hard to get the resonance and being attuned to the healing energy and divine love and all those different things around us. So it was about tuning into this higher level energy. And when you're attuned, healing can happen. The light pen makes sense to me because it's light and you're kind of like tuning in, or the visual image, you're like tuning in at some other level aside from the typical level that you're in, which is generally like feeling the pain and being upset about feeling the pain, which is not helpful for healing.
Yeah, and you hit an interesting point in there, which is when you focus on the healing, or it is already healed, you focus on where you want it to be rather than focusing on I'm sick, I'm injured, or any of these pieces. What you focus on is what you bring about. Now, I'm not saying you brought about this injury or illness, or it's not healing because of you. There's no guilt, shame, judgment, or blame. With that said, though, if you focus on it is healed, it is divine, it is one, the bone is perfect together, the eye is perfectly smooth, you bring that about. If you focus on, oh my God, I've got this injury, this thing, this eye ulcer condition, then the energy that you're either sending to the body from a non-woo-woo perspective is putting you in fight or flight mode, which doesn't help you to heal because it's going to take resources away from your healing systems and put it to the on-guard system, or you are sending a message to the universe saying it's not healthy.
Right. Yeah, there was another one that he mentions during his workshop about a woman who was ill, and she just focused on feeling a sense of wholeness. She wasn't focused on that, but if you just focus on I'm whole, I feel great. And she wasn't focusing her energy on being ill. She had a whole bunch of different debilitating illnesses. And when she stopped focusing on it and being well, she would she may even had some of the symptoms like over the period of time, but it reached a certain point where she stopped thinking about it, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm well," So she wasn't focusing on it as much. So I think that definitely, and I think it's about getting into a different vibration. Even with acupuncture, they have your body has kind of a energetic vibration that is ideal. And when we were in China, did I tell you that they hooked up these acupuncture needles to us, and then they basically took the acupuncture needle and they put an electrical current through it.
I've had
So
this.
you literally had electrical current running through your body, and they do that because your body is like lost a sense of what the right energetic current will be, and so they hook you up to this like literally this small voltage item, and it like resyncs your body into the right like energetic vibration for healing. And it works. I don't know how it works aside from the thing that we just said, which is that there is healing available to us. It resonates at a certain vibration. And if we are, like you said, in fight or flight, we're in a lower vibration, and it gets in the way of the healing. So
yeah, it's interesting. We were talking last week a little about political flu, and we really don't have to go there today, but they said that the flu has spiked across the country this week, and I think it has to do with vibration. So when we're in that higher vibration, the immune system is cranking to the max, and when we go low, the immune system sputters, and we run into all of these troubles. Is kind of segueing back full circle here, and kind of having a show of talking about celebratory. What I was talking about or thinking of as a theme for this show was that when we get to that place of higher frequency, we bring more about it about. So that actually takes place with healing. If we get to that higher frequency, we are whole, we are complete, we are healthy again.
Yeah. I had so many. I was thinking about our show that we did last week about how you get out of a funk. Because I think a lot societally, there's a lot of people who are in fear and worry and doubt and concern. And I did this show with Linda Howe, and she was talking about the 3 Gs, graciousness. And I didn't mention it because that was last week.
Yeah.
It was graciousness, generosity, and gratitude, and how any of those 3 can actually lead you to vibrating at a higher place, which both of you and I know. That's why we do gratitudes and things like that. And I was trying that this week, and it really did work. I was trying to just be in a state of aliveness, of kind of like thinking about how the world is just so beautiful and mysterious, and how I don't really know what's going on, and so I should stop like catastrophizing on what the possibilities of what could happen. And starting last week, I had the most phenomenal interview with Linda Howe. I had a coaching session with a great coach. I listened to that evening. So we were talking about awakening the heart. When I was working with my coach, my goal is about awakening my heart. And we did a whole bunch of energetic clearing. But the one thing that was still needed to be looked at is what does it mean? What does it mean to have an awakened heart? And I said, well, I was brought that idea from this one woman, Sonia, and she and I think she has a class going on sometime. So I'll go listen to that workshop where she's talking about awakening heart, so I can understand what she's talking about. So I get home, and the class is playing that night in 30 minutes. I was like, wow, that. What's the likelihood of that happening? Because I had signed up for the class like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when I wasn't thinking about this at all as much. And then I looked and I thought, oh, I'm not getting the call-in number, so I can't really listen to it. So I thought, oh. And then about 15 minutes into it, for whatever reason, an email popped up with the phone number to call in. So I called in, listened to it. It was amazing. So just all these synchronicities were happening that, I had this great interview. Then it was followed up by a coaching session, and then followed up by this phone call. And then that whole week was just full of synchronicities of stuff like it was literally the same message over and over and over again about guilt and when you love yourself, is that being selfish? Like I met a client, they talked to me about that on Friday. I talked to my son, he was talking about that on Thursday, and then on Saturday I was like, okay, I guess this is up for me to look into. And as I was contemplating, a bird shat on top of my whole jacket, right on my heart.
Okay, what does that mean?
I was like, okay. I need to look into this. I'm looking into this. So yeah, it's just all these, like, sometimes the universe, it was like 4 different iterations of the same thing over and over again. But it was interesting to just have that kind of stuff happening.
So we were
But that made me get in the state of grace and just completely lifted my energy in a different way.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
It's been a topic I've had at least a couple guests, and it may have been in Jessica and the show that we just recorded yesterday, that is live today as well, talking about the ultimate way, of course, of healing the world, but the ultimate way of helping others is to dive into ourselves. It is the ultimate act of selflessness, is to take care of the self. What is the message that you were getting out of it?
I think that when we take care of ourselves, we sometimes feel guilty about that.
Mm-hmm.
We feel guilty because we're not meeting what guilt is a expectation that we either have someone else placed on us or we actually place on ourselves. And so if you're feeling selfish or guilty, it probably means that you have an expectation on how you're supposed to be. And I guess the first step would be figuring out who gave you this expectation. Was it your own internal expectation, or was it an external expectation that your parents or school teacher or society has told you you have to be this particular way, or else you're selfish or whatever? Where did that come from? And so thinking about where that comes from, and then, it's never really an easy balance between doing what you want and doing what another person. There's some seesaw between what you want and what they want, and it may not happen at the same time, but there's a way to negotiate those two things. But you have to be clear with what it is that you want, what they want, and then you have to negotiate, because otherwise you go into guilting yourself because you think you know what they want, and sometimes it's not even what they want. Or you're guilting yourself, and when you really look at it, you're like, I don't even believe that's what I want. So I guess that's one thing that I learned about it. And then I also, this whole experience made me think differently about my son leaving for college, because he's leaving for college in the next 5 months. And I thought about, and I was talking to this younger guy who was saying that he felt really bad about leaving his parents. And I thought, well, gosh, I never want my son to feel that way. But we have such a close love for each other. This whole family is our family is super, super tight, that my love could actually make him feel guilty, but it's not to make him feel guilty. I would never want him to not do his own path because he feels guilty leaving his family. And so it was just a huge awakening for me to say, well, I don't want that from our kids, because they need to follow their own path. And sometimes in order to find your own path, you have to leave the comfort of your home, right? Your center, whatever, so that you can actually be uncomfortable and be in the world and figure out what your life is all about. Because when you're around your family, it's like this big warm blanket wrapped around you. And I think sometimes in ways that are loving and great, but then also ways that don't let you stretch your wings out and fly. So it was about freedom, about love, it was about guilt and shame. It was all those kinds of things wrapped in. It's almost hard for me to describe because I'm still kind of processing it all.
It sounds like, though, and it's been a theme for us lately, is both it was a paradigm shifter for you, and it's forcing you to it's in a sense question beliefs, and by that I mean you're going, I don't want my love to actually get in the way. So you're questioning something of how does that even come across? It's a very different way of looking at things.
Yeah. I don't want it's like I have to be really careful about my languaging, because I don't want to, I don't want that love to be bondage. You know what I mean? I want that love to be freedom. But I think it's really it's a very tenuous line, right? It's a very thin line between that where you're like, I love you so much, don't go, and it's or like no, I love you, get out of here. It's like I love
You
you
may
so
want
much
to
and
look
you
at
have to go.
you might want to try the middle road of here's what I'm feeling and
Right.
just share from the heart. I want you to have your freedom. I want to tell you how much I incredibly love you. And at the same time, this is your time to fly free. I am so proud of you. And while I will miss you, I want you to fly free, fly free, fly free.
Yeah, we had that conversation, which was great because I said, "Hey, I had this conversation with this other guy about leaving his family, and I want you to know that it's as hard as it is going to be for me to let you go because I love you so much and I'll miss you. You have to do whatever you need to do. Like it's your life, and there's if you're not going to fight for your life and your path, then no one else will. So you got to fight for it. So anyhow, I'm writing an article about it for him." Just so I have it, and I can that's my forcing function to think through this whole construct. But it's interesting, yeah. So that was my whole thing.
And you were talking about surrender. Where does surrender fit into this picture?
Well, you know how this summer I took 4 jobs, and I continued to to like listen to the universe. And so 2 weeks ago, or 3, I don't even know. Someone signed up for my radio show, and it was called Compassionate Coding. And I thought, what's that all about? So then I looked on this woman's website, and it was along the same lines of the things that I've been thinking about over the last 2 or 3 years. And so I just emailed her and said, I know this is really weird, but I had an intuitive hit that we should connect. So let's connect. And so I set up a meeting, and that was like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And I met with her yesterday. And then at the same time, this person that I'm coaching, I was meeting with him, and I was like, I don't know, there's something that's happening. I don't really know. Like it's happening. It's helping me awaken to my relationship with my son, but there's something else happening, and I'm not really sure. He's also interested, ends up being also interested in increasing consciousness. So these are people in their 20, 26, 30 years old. And when I was talking, I realized that I needed to connect these two people together, and that so anyways, I talked to her yesterday. I talked to this other guy last Friday, Thursday, and like, wow, there's the same kind of thing that we're interested in doing. And then I connected with the woman that I like randomly emailed over the internet, and we connected yesterday. And then I realized I needed to connect the two of them, and that the three of us need to connect together. But it was just this random surrender, right? Like, it really feels embarrassing to email someone and it's like, I don't know why, but I guess I'm supposed to contact you.
That's cool.
It's weird, but it all kind of came into just a graceful, connection of, I don't even know where it's going to evolve, or if it was for me to meet this woman or for me to connect her to this guy. I really don't even know. I'm just following what I sense is what I was been asked to surrender and do, and doing it. It's just, it's always fun when things happen and there's magic that happens. That's the fun thing.
You're going to have to keep us informed. Let us know where.
Yes, I will.
Where it goes.
Yeah. Okay. So how about you for love bugs?
So love
And
bug.
fruity oatmeal, are they related?
Not yet. Love Bug is our new kitty who is now home.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned Kitty was going to be coming home and showed you her just off air. I guess for those watching on video, can I borrow you for just a second? This is our little Love Bug right here.
She's got like a calico print kind of coloring, gray.
Gray. She's got the pink collar on. She is our new little baby. I have been sleeping in the studio this week since she came home, sort of like in the doghouse, but for the reverse reasons, so that the cats can get used to each other. And we're nuts about our kitties. We're nuts about our babies, whatever they are, whatever species they are.
Right.
And so we've been introducing them gradually to each other. It's fascinating. She was surrendered.
And you're sleeping with them so that they can get comfortable, since you're the connecting force between the two.
Yeah, so I sleep with her in one room. Jessica's with the other kitties in the other room. We keep on introducing. She's made good, I guess you could say, friends with Sir Meowsers, who's kind of the benevolent king.
Right.
And Lumi, she's I guess she's not afraid of Lumi now. Lumi's still working on getting comfortable with him.
Right.
So that's coming about. So yeah, it's a process, and we take it very, very gingerly. Let them come along at their own pace,
Right.
and try to give them as much confidence through the
Right.
situation. But
If you didn't do that, what do you think would happen, or do you know what happened if you bring cats? I don't know anything about cats.
it depends on the dynamic. They could be, just high five, little butt hip check thing going on, and say, you're cool,
Right.
I'm cool, we're cool together. Or they could go eek and freak out or have a fight.
Oh, wow.
And Lumi being a rescued feral cat, well, both Lumi and Meowsers, but Lumi was the real. He had a very rough first 6 months of his life. We had to fight and scrap for foods, and cats would pounce him. And so he's still, you have to feed him away from Sir Meowsers just because he's afraid he's going to get pounced. And he'd rather
Wow.
protect himself than eat. Even though Meowsers wouldn't ever even think of pouncing him, would
Right.
just take care of him. So when Lumi saw the new kitty, Lumi's like, uh-oh, is this danger? And so you have to introduce them very slowly, or else they can have a poor experience. And then not only do you have to help them work on the introduction, you have to help them move past the wiring of the poor experience.
Oh, wow. So it's better to just try to get the good introduction sooner rather than later.
Very gently and sooner.
Is this like a cat whisperer thing? How did you know this? Is this just from the past experiences?
Probably past experiences, and we're trying to stay attuned to them and their needs. She's amazing. She was surrendered at only 2 months of age, and spent a better part of 6 months, 6.5 months in a little cage, like a little 1.5 by 3 foot cage. And so her social skills, given that, are angelic. So it's absolutely amazing. And we do try to listen and be very present and speak to them as if they're people, as if they can fully understand, which I truly believe they do. And just like I bring that presence to the show with you, or you bring to me, bringing that presence with any other being, I think makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's funny because I just get dogs all excited because I look at them and they're like, ah! So I don't really provide a calming presence to any animals.
Oh, and I am a walking, talking dog. I know that is inside of me and everything. I see dog sees me. I'm like, doggy. They're like, doggy. And we're like, doggy. and I'm like wagging my tail. They're wagging their tail. And the owners are like, I can't believe that dog just came up to you and I just gave you that giant kiss. And I'm like, doggy, 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 doggy. So now, and I don't want to go into where we're moving. We haven't figured this out. We know we're moving sometime soon.
Yeah.
But now I've actually been going to where are the dog-friendly places, because I want doggy when we move. And Jessica's like, I understand that you want
a dog and a cat sense. You want dogs and cats.
Well, you can't run with your cat on the trails.
Right.
I mean, you can, and I have actually taken a cat on a trail before, but it's not your ideal, and I've never seen anybody take them running, although we have kitty backpack. You can put the cat in the backpack. You could try running.
Oh, come on.
So she likes parachuting. Jessica holds one end of a blanket or sheet, I hold the other end, and you put the kitty in the middle, and you toss her up, and she has a ball and starts purring, and she has a little mouse toy and starts playing with her as you're throwing her up and down.
God,
So in theory,
so much work.
In theory, you could take her out to the trails, but I want a dog. Before we moved to Maui, my whole life, I've had a dog that's been a running companion that's looked out for me. I've looked out for him or her. And so wherever we move, I want to be able to have doggy again. And so I've been looking for this is too much head over heart. I got to get out of the head. But I've been like, where are the dog-friendly trails?
Yeah, where are the most friendly dog places? Have you found out?
When it's an interesting Google search, because the Google searches tend to tell you where there are restaurants that take dogs, where there are hotels that take dogs, or where there are beaches that take dogs. I'm looking for where are the most dog-friendly trail places.
Oh.
And that's a hard Google search that I haven't really been able to maximize. I can do it backwards. I can go to an area, for instance, we've been looking at maybe Marin County in California, and then I can look, and you can even see on alltrails.com, you can see all the different trails around, and then you say dog-friendly, and 9 out of 10 of them vaporize. And then you read about it, and it is not that great. So I can do that reverse engineering, but I haven't been able to figure out, like if I type in dog-friendly towns, California, other than the beaches, the hotels, and the restaurants, I'm not finding what I'm looking for.
But can you presume that if they have a lot of restaurants and beaches that are dog-friendly, that they'll also have dog trail? Is there a correlation between the two?
No, because the bigger correlation that I found is how much of a presence or how many dollars are behind the horse owners in the area. And I've owned 3 horses before, so I love horses. But it tends to be, and this is a gross generalization, so anybody, if you have a horse, I promise I'm not picking on you. This is just what I have experienced, is that horse owners who like their horses to be on the trails tend to be skittish of dogs being on the trails off leash. And so there is that push in place. There's also sometimes areas where people are concerned that the dogs may harm the environment. And so the dogs are very friendly in town, but in the trails they want them on a short leash because they're concerned about the animals and wildlife, which there's some validity to. And I think the most important thing is you have tough rules about enforcement of your dog, whether on a short leash, a long leash, or anything, being fully under your control. That's the most important thing. But with that said, I haven't been able to find an easy correlation. Again, I think I'm going too head over heart, but I do have this very strong visualization of I want to be able to go out my back door with my dog and run for mile after mile after countless miles.
So it's going to be a big dog. It's not going to be the little dogs that you put in your purse.
And I haven't seen, well, there are whippets and stuff that are small and probably can run, but it probably won't be that sized. I'm guessing back in the 30, 40 pound range again, something that we can train incredibly well, that we can take with us around the world, but is strong enough to go the distance on the trails.
Right. Okay, so that's, wait. Okay, what does that have to do with fruity oatmeal?
Well,
what's going on
fruity
with
oatmeal is Jessica hasn't been feeling that great for making a lot of food, and so I've been working on this concoction, and I think I got it really close today of trying to make oatmeal taste like apple pie.
Okay, and what did you do?
It's sequencing. No sugar at all. I'm learning at what point to put in the oatmeal, how soon after the oatmeal to have the diced up apples ready to go in, because you can't cook the apples in there too long because you want them just a tiny bit still crisp, and if they get too soft, they lose all the sugar out of the apple into the rest of the oatmeal. Then I've been adding right before the end a little bit of banana to bring out the sweetness. Throw the cinnamon on there. I hadn't thought till this very minute about nutmeg. I'm going to have to consider that. And then at the very end, which doesn't really go with the apple pie theme, but it seems to taste great, adding in some whole organic blueberries as well. And it's working for her. And this is from somebody who, she wouldn't really call me the best cook in the world historically. But I'm doing what I can for her, CJ. I'm doing what I can.
I know. I got strawberry shortcake, where that shortcake is already pre-made, and then I put strawberries on it. And what they suggest is that you take, 5 tablespoons of sugar, and you create like a sauce with the strawberry. And I was like, that just seems so unhealthy. Plus, these strawberries are pretty sweet, so that just seems totally ludicrous to do. So I'm not going to do it. And then you're kind of eating the shortcake, and it's like this dry kind of pasty taste. So my solution was I got Greek yogurt, and I threw that on there I took this Greek yogurt with like some berries in it and stuff, like it has a little bit of that sugary stuff, but way less than 6 tablespoons worth of sugar. And I put this Greek yogurt with whipped cream and the berries, and it was awesome. That's cool. That's my little twist on
and you could
Valentine's Day.
what I've learned with the strawberries is if you heat them up just a little bit, they kind of turn to a mushy paste. You don't have to go to the point of jam, but it becomes like a natural sweetener itself.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you can basically melt your strawberries. I've done this in the oatmeal as well, and the strawberries kind of vaporize into the oatmeal.
Yeah, and they're really quite nice. So so what's going on with veggie? World's spiciest veggie bean burritos. And I have a potato tip for you too.
Okay, go for your potato tip first.
Okay, so I did this whole interview about every single vegetable. Kales, Jerusalem artichokes. Have you ever had those before?
I have.
They're really good. Anyways, I did this whole episode you can see on my website and Fired Up with CJ on all these vegetables and fruit. But I didn't know that if a potato, if you actually have, potatoes last for like months. Like you can put them in a dry cellar or whatever, root cellar, and it will last for a long time. But if you ever have them growing roots,
You're
which
supposed
I've
to
never
pick them
had
out.
that happen, well, you shouldn't even eat the potato because I know you're a big potato eater because the potato starts emitting toxins.
We've
you
heard
know
that, and I tend to eye them. I scoop out that section, so I don't
That whole
know.
section.
Yeah, I just scoop
And
out
it
that
doesn't
section.
taste weird. You can taste if it. I said, well, what would it be like? And she said you could taste it because it will taste off-putting.
Yeah, no, not at all. In fact, here with the local, both the local organic grocer and the Trader Joe's, and we get all the organic potatoes. If you keep them around, maybe it's humid where you are too, but the humidity here on the East Coast, within a few days they start to get little tiny sprouts. I wouldn't call it furry like green mold. You can see they're just little shoots coming out of it. And so if it's just starting, I'll just grab a spoon and just really scrape them off. And if not, I'll pick them out. But then I just go ahead, I do my muscle test, and they taste fine. Not a problem at all.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So then you already know the potato tip. What is the world spicy veggie bean burritos?
It's Valentine's Day, and we have to practice what we preach, and we're really going to work on more balance this year and being more time rich. And we know that we need to celebrate the moments in our life, not as kind of a Hallmark celebrate. I'm hearing that music in my head right now, but we really do need to celebrate the moment. And so we don't have that much time off this evening. This is still, I've got a couple coaching sessions, a couple interviews today. It's a fairly full-on day. Although I did a beautiful interview on the veggie side of things on this author, Dr. Garth Davis, earlier today on Proteinaholic, on the great protein myth, which is a whole topic.
Protein myth?
Yeah. It turns out we really don't need that protein. So, which is a whole topic unto itself. But with that said, I want to go out and celebrate for a little bit tonight. So we have this little burrito shack, a little burrito dive that the two of us love, and it's weird. Okay, we tend to go on Wednesdays because they got the 2-for-1 burritos, and we buy a whole bunch of extra burritos and bring them home with us. But we're going out. We're going out on Valentine's. It's not the 2-for-1, and we are going to have. I always go in there, and I remember the first time I embarrassed myself because I wanted to try to speak Spanish, and I just did this horrible job, and I was trying to say basically make it hotter than the hottest volcano on earth or something. They did have the chef come out. I could have even gone a little hotter. It's not this macho thing. It's just I love the fire. I used to be the white of white boys who, if you had one red pepper speck in a Chinese food dish, I would cry. It would hurt me so bad. But over the years, I've gotten used to it. And so tonight we'll have these veggie bean burritos that, for me, more than anything else, it's going to be diced up cooked jalapenos with a hint of beans and rice in it. And I am looking forward to it. And we're just, it's the humblest, coolest place. So is that what they do to make it
super hot? They just throw a bunch of jalapenos and like different peppers in there for you?
Typically, yeah. And Lord help me the day that they actually have habaneros on hand, because I do have habanero hot sauce at home, but they could really hurt me. And if they ever had a ghost pepper and I asked for that, I'm going to be in the hospital. You don't mess around at Thai restaurants.
Yeah.
Always,
no. They do make it hot for sure.
So
are you a 2 or 3 star, 4 star?
Oh, I'd be at the top of the star list for even Thai restaurants. I will say make it Thai hot, but I won't say make it hotter than that because I've had that twice, and that hurt bad.
What's Thai heart? Thai hot? Is that like 4 or 5 stars?
So well, you've got
I'm almost 1 star or 2 star or no star, so I don't really know the whole
basically, and I'm not a big star. All I know is, we'll put it this way: you have your normal chart, and then you go from there to Thai hot.
Right. Which is, so you don't even know what the normal chart is. You just say Thai hot, which is what a Thai person would eat.
Yes. Yeah. They'd eat it with no problem, and I'll go to that hot, but I won't ask for it extra Thai hot because then, like I said, I made that mistake twice, and it was exceptionally humbling. Very, very humbling.
I used to be a hot food, and I can't anymore. So I remember going to, I don't remember where Santa Fe, and I had some type of like jalapeno something or other, and I took for like probably like, I'm not joking, like an hour before my mouth calmed down. I was drinking water, which of course does nothing.
Doesn't work.
So then I ate ice cream. I actually ordered a glass of milk so that my mouth would calm down.
I have the secret, but you won't probably carry it with you. But I have the secret. Baking soda.
Well, what are you going to do with that? So you put baking soda and it calms everything down?
Well, we brush our teeth with baking soda. So yeah, baking soda is alkaline. So you put an acid in your mouth, you put an alkaline in, and you neutralize it, and you're done. So if you're screaming in pain, I guess you could go buy a toothbrush at 7-Eleven along with a little thing of Arm & Hammer for $1. And it sounds funny, but here at the house, if I go a little bit too crazy on my habanero sauces, I could go grab some. You know this, I sound nuts, but grab some baking soda.
Brush your teeth with baking soda, and that's how you neutralize everything.
Exactly.
Oh my God. On that note.
What, doesn't everybody do that?
Exactly. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
On that note, I'll let you in on my other toothbrush secret, as long as we're in the nuts category.
Yes. Wow, this is a really important show.
Brushing your teeth with coconut oil. It's like doing an oil. It's like doing an oil pilling, and it protects the teeth and it helps the gums. And I learned that from Anthony William, medical medium, about 1.5 2 years ago, and I swear by it because I had so many dental problems in the past, and it has been beyond miraculous.
So wait, do you brush your teeth and then brush it with coconut oil?
So normally, Jessica uses baking soda almost all the time. I typically do baking soda on a very rare basis and do coconut oil almost all the time. And I get kind of like an oil pulling out of it. I protect the teeth. The gums feel much happier for it. The mouth feels nice and fresh. And you don't drink the coconut oil. You spit it out, and it feels good. And I swear, the teeth should be able to regenerate on their own, and at a very minimum, the teeth should be able to keep from decaying further. And coconut oil is a natural antiviral and antibacterial. And so it takes care of anything bad that's in there and supports your teeth and supports your gums.
Wow. Okay, I wouldn't have thought about that in a million years. I'm still using Crest.
Oh my God, no. And please tell me, and we don't have to go there today, please tell me you're not using fluoride in that Crest.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it has fluoride or not. I'll have to look. Why?
Fluoride, if you go online, and obviously there's a lot of debate on anything in the world, but the general consensus worldwide, and particularly out of this country, is fluoride causes fluoridosis, which is a weakening of the bones. It removes calcium from the bones. It removes calcium from the teeth. It causes brittle teeth.
Why did they add fluoride into the water then? Why are they...
This gets into a whole big...
That's another episode. Along with the protein myth. Okay.
So let's say for everybody, do a little homework online. We can certainly talk about it. It is one that I feel very, very strongly about. And so I won't drink water with fluoride in it with a 10-foot pole if I can avoid it, both for my bone health and for my gut health and for my immune system. I would always have the water, have it filtered out. Try never to do bottled water, not trying to go there today, but it's just so eco-unfriendly to make one little thing of bottled water. Picture whatever size it is. It takes the 4 times the water to actually produce that bottled water to produce that plastic. And so I go with the filtered water every chance I can, and you can get it by the gallon or the jug without the fluoride in there, or we have a little filter that filters out fluoride on our tap. And then some places are very progressive. And I'm betting in Washington there's some places, in Oregon there's some places, and where we lived on Hawaii, at least the whole island of Maui, where there is no fluoride added to the tap water or it's been removed.
Wow. Okay. I don't know. I think ours, we probably have fluoride added to our water.
And fluoride also crosses the blood-brain barrier, and can be a big deal for kids as well.
Wow. Okay. On that important health note, anything else that you want to share?
Well, I didn't know we were going to be...
now we're moving into like health habits.
I didn't know we were going there. All I had was my little new beanie toy that Jessica was going to recycle as we're packing up, which is Nuts the squirrel. And so Nuts the squirrel is keeping me company for obvious... I didn't give him the name Nuts. He came that way. Nuts the squirrel is keeping me company on the desk. Right next to me now, I have another seat sitting next to me, which has the love bug on it. So we're filling this room with love. It's Valentine's Day, so we're sending out all the love. And I just feel very strongly, going back to the theme of the show, how incredibly important it is to celebrate any good moment in our lives. We have such wiring from the time we were little kids to please others and only to be happy with the results if others are happy about it. And so we've learned not to pat ourselves on the back. We don't want to get too cocky, we think, or feel too good about ourselves, whatever that could mean. If you feel great, other people will feel great.
Right.
Pat yourself on the back every opportunity you can. Take yourself out. Give yourself a massage. Go on like Groupon. Get yourself some discount massages. There are probably some good sales around this time of the year.
That's true.
Reward yourself any way you possibly can. Not only will you thank yourself for it, but lots of magic happens when you bring yourself to that higher frequency.
Woohoo! Self-love. Oh, woohoo! Self-love.
Amen. So on that note... For everyone out there, this is MiCHAEL Sandler and
CJ LIU,
along with Nuts and the Love Bug, saying, be well, have fun, have the most magical self-love, pat yourself on the back, get yourself a massage, day ahead, and shine bright. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!